Okay, we're live here, and I'm also live on Instagram at the same time. I've never done this before. All right, we're doing the Land Insights CEO call. It's an important one because we're exactly 2 weeks out from the launch of the Land Insights data platform. So for you guys that don't know, November 21st is the day that it all goes down, and it's going down via a 6-hour launch party starting at 3 p.m. PST on November 21st. So this is our last call before that all goes down, which is a pretty big deal. So today, what we're going to touch on, I'm going to share a bit of a story, and we're going to kind of touch on the origin of how this platform came to be, and how this idea was something that popped into my head a long time ago, and I never thought in a million years I'd ever be involved in help solving it. So it's kind of interesting. We're going to share that story. We're going to kind of just pull back the curtain and give an insane insight to the process, the insane amounts of money and time and energy and effort that have gone into building what is the V1 of the Land Insights data platform. We are also going to tease some kind of current examples, sneak peeks into the platform right now. I will be sharing a screen. We'll be going through some of that stuff. Launch specific details. There's a bunch of specific launch details that we need to touch on. And then just some really brief teasing on our roadmap. So roadmap is what we're actually releasing post V1. Now, I think Kyle can certainly attest to us. I feel the same way. Every single release that we've ever done, it always feels like it's half-baked relative to all the things that we have in the queue that we want to add in. You're kind of like in this constant revolving door where you add the features that you want, and there's 12 new features that are kind of in the queue. And so we've got that really all planned out for, I'd say, about the next 6 or 7 months. And so we'll kind of just tease and touch on that. Before we do, one thing I do have to mention, I'm just going to share my screen here really briefly. You guys will see down below, there's landinsights.co/data. That's a whole new link for us, a whole new landing page. We usually point people to landinsights.co/apply to schedule a demo call. But this is really for folks that are just interested in learning more about data platform. So it gives us a little more insight in terms of labeling folks that are reaching out for calls. And this landing page here gives you some context. But I would recommend, if you guys are even thinking about getting access to the data tool prior to the launch of November 21st, come hop on a call with us now. We'll show you what we can show you and kind of whet your palate. All right, Kyle, Rylan, how you guys doing? This is a long intro.
Doing good. Calling out of Miami right now. Got some friends in town, so we'll go ahead and hit the town after this. But
so word on the street is you've got Coach with you, who just spoke at our event, and we actually just brought on Coach as our newest coach inside of Leah. Redundant, but Coach is now coaching inside of Leah. He runs our Leah monthly mindset call, which some people really need some help there. So I'm excited to have him with you. You're probably going to get a little bit of that coach effect this weekend yourself, I'm sure. He's a
oh yeah, we've been going all day.
Mm-hmm. Kyle, what about you, man?
Doing good, man. Family and I just went to Italy for 2 weeks, so we got back a little bit ago. So that was pretty refreshing, and I'm happy to be on the same time zone as my team. So that's for me personally, I like that. So yeah, it was good. I had a lot of gelato, a lot of pizza. Don't want to have any for a while. And, yeah, ready to start. My
Let me ask you this, Kyle. Yeah. You feel like because we've been in the trenches for so long, one of two things happen. One, you take a trip like that and it's like a big breath of fresh air, or you're like so normalized to a certain routine that you almost feel like you're going to die if you don't work in the next few days, kind of thing. Like, you know what I'm talking about? How you feel about vacation sometimes? What was that like?
Yes, second one for sure. Yeah,
second one.
Yeah,
is that funny?
I think it's just I think it's a thing when you're an entrepreneur. You're just like, I'm used to productivity. I'm used to moving the ball forward. I'm used to having so much time and energy to allocate toward your baby. And then when you're not doing that, you're like, something's wrong here. But I am super glad to be back in the swing of things. So
nice, man. Yeah, it's funny. It's a certain kind of personality that I think possesses that. And not to go off the rails, but I've been going through my own interpersonal challenges like any human being. I've been, just going through a season of that. And it's funny, like my initial response every single time is to transmute that pain into going harder. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that it's just certain kind of people that just like, that's where you just draw a lot of your fulfillment or understanding of yourself or the world is through working. And I think we all That's a funny character type, though. You know, some folks, they can't wait to take that vacation. That is the light at the end of the tunnel. Anyways, for everyone sharing in the chat, what's up, guys? DBL says, Coach making Rylan run 10 plus miles. Is that going to happen?
So we've come to an agreement. Ryan and Coach are training for an Ironman, I think in April.
Oh.
And we're all doing it. But my take on it is I'm not doing any training. I'm going to the Ironman with absolutely no training. So it's going to be a mental experiment.
Yeah.
So they've been running all day.
Well, that's just a normal Friday for Coach. Dude, the thing that people don't know about you, though, is that you used to be like a semi-pro cyclist. Like your endurance game is above the rest, even without training.
Yeah, he sells himself short. He can do the flagpole move. Like, I don't know if you've seen the calisthenics flagpole.
Yeah.
That is not someone that's detrained. That is someone that is peak Olympian status.
Yeah, I qualified for the triathlon world championships 2 years ago. I was training pretty heavily and then I just kind of fell off. But I'd like to get back into it at some point over the next couple of years. Just go all in on triathlons. It's so much fun. Yeah,
man. It's awesome. Well, let's get this party started, guys. Super fun to have everyone here. Questions that come up during this video, throw them in the chat. Could be about the platform, launch specifics, or it could just be willy-nilly. If you want to know what I ate for breakfast, I'll share it with you. Put it inside the chat. We'll go over that together. All right, let's touch on an origin story. I filmed a video about this earlier this week, and that video will be coming out in the next couple of days. So I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I was just going to give you guys just kind of like a really short origin story about Land Insights, the data platform in particular. Now, I've told my story in this business a million times. I got started in 2019. And what was so interesting, either I was really stupid and naive, which is a possibility, or there was no clear like land data platform. And frankly, I was confused. Like I came into this business, I'm like, there's all these house tools and it seems like you can get land. There was just no clear path there. It wasn't like, this is the go-to tool for land investors. And so I watched these land investing videos and they were referring to bizarre tools. And there's one tool, like, I wish I remember the name. It wasn't Data Tree. It was like the OG. No, it wasn't PropStream either. I'll tell about PropStream here in a second. It wasn't PropStream either. It was like, had the worst UI ever. Someone will know what I'm talking about. Had really high quality data, but a terrible UI. I can't remember what that one was called. Anyways, I get into this business. None of them were kind of drawing my attention. So I ended up just going straight to the county website and started pulling data that way and just going and pulling delinquent tax lists from there. And what was crazy, dude, is I would get these in like XLSK format or whatever the format is for like Google Sheets and whatnot. And then some of them would literally make me a straight up CD. Like the way that you get these things delivered to you was so fragmented and scattered. And then like the formatting was always really funky and I have to sift through it. So I did that for my first mailer. I actually got some leads from it, no deals from it. But I'm like, this is so tiresome. And some would make me pay for the data. Some was free. It was just a really weird, wonky process. So then I started watching these house wholesaling videos. And that's initially what got me into the idea of land. And everyone's talking about PropStream. And it was $99 a month for 10,000 records, I think. So I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm going to get PropStream. And have you guys used PropStream?
Yes.
Okay.
Sucks.
Is PropStream made for land investors or is it made for house wholesalers?
I don't think it's made for anybody.
Yes, I mean,
the data is so bad.
Yeah.
You lose so much money from the poor data. None of it's updated.
Dude, exactly. So here's the funny thing is that like I start pulling lists from there. The layout is so funky, man. Like you're so limited on the search parameters and there's no due diligence tool in there. So at this time, I'm using that in certain county GIS websites to try to run my due diligence. I'm just kind of like scatterbrained. So I do a couple mailing campaigns out of there, but the data is fucking trash. Like I'm mailing people that sold their property 6 months ago. And so the data was cheap. The marketing was super expensive. I'm like, all right, this isn't working. So I start watching some Land Academy videos. I think they had like a deal set up with, or maybe it was RE Tipster. I can't remember. They had a deal set up with Data Tree. It felt like a little pricey for my budget. Honestly, at the time, I was a little bit nervous to go and use it with like the a la carte model. I think when I started, I was paying like 9 to 12 cents per record. I wish I could remember. I was on the cheapest plan, whatever that comes out to be. So I started using that. Anyone that's used Data Tree, great tool, good data. I mean, honestly, I used it for a long time. The due diligence features in there are kind of shite, to be honest. So long story short, we fast forward to today or prior to today, inside of our business to run our marketing, We've got, a pro Trello account. We used to use Airtable. We're using Land ID. We're using DataTree. You had a Land Vision account. I've just got this plethora of different tools that all serve a slightly different purpose, and yet none of them are really built for land investors other than Land ID. And Land ID is an awesome tool. Shout out to whoever built that. I actually do think Land ID is amazing. And I'm like, dude, back in the day, I was just like, dude, someone's got to make a tool just for land investors that just rolls all this up into one place. Why does my team have to go update this Trello board to move a marketing campaign through this Kanban, and then we have to go pull our data from DataTree and go run our comps or do our due diligence land ID? I'm like, someone really smart is going to come and solve that. And then no one did. And then fast forward to today, and here we are. And what's funny is we launched Land Insights a year and a half ago. As anyone that was an early user knows, it was a steaming hot pile of junk. It really was. And I'm not even ashamed to say that. I think that really those that have been with us from the beginning, you guys have been able to witness something really cool. And that's the idea of turning nothing into something. That's how anything that we've ever worked on, or I've ever worked on, at least Kyle, I'm sure you can attest to this, Rylan, same for you. It's like, it sucks out of the gate, and we're not afraid to make it suck and go get feedback and go get users and go get information and iterate and iterate and iterate. Where I see so many entrepreneurs that just sit on the sideline indefinitely because they're always in this stealth mode. They're too scared to release, and they never make it anywhere. And so I think that's a beautiful lesson in business building, even though the tool stunk out of the gate. And one of the cool things that we had the ability to do, because we released so quickly, is we were just getting huge loads of feedback from our users. A lot of it was like, dude, this needs major improvement. Luckily, everyone liked the initial idea, but this needs some serious improvement. And we've always been incredibly open to feedback. And one of the whispers that we were hearing is like, dude, when I'm looking at a market inside of here, why can't I just export the data from here? Like one-stop shop. Why do I have to go save this market and then go pull it somewhere else? It just seems like it makes sense. And so we listened. And so it's like there's two clashings of two different life experiences. There's the origin story, and then there's the user feedback. And then fast forward to today, and here we are. And what's funny is we didn't know the exact timeline of when we were going to do this. And another great example in business, at the middle of this year, or maybe the first third of this year, we said, you know what, we're jumping off the deep end. And that's exactly what we've done. I'm sure Kyle can attest to the fact that it's been an absolute journey to feel our way through this. What I always tell people is business or creating anything ultimately for me feels like I'm in a dark room, got a fucking blindfold on. I'm trying to find the right door. One of the doors has a pot of gold at the end of it. Problem is there's a dozen doors. Some are on the roof, some are on the floor, some are on the wall. Some of them have razor blades on them. You can grab the handle, you get your hand sliced. Some of those doors you open up, there's a dead end. Some have a dead end with a fucking lance sticking out that's going to jab you in the chest. It's so hard, and you just trip and stumble your way through, and you just figure it out, and you just never give up. And this is a testament to that. So it was a long story. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an insane journey. Never did I think we would turn a market selection platform into a do-it-for-you, all of land service. So it's crazy, and it's crazy how quickly it all happens. I mean, we bring on one project, we brought on the V2 project, redesigned everything, made it great, and our aspirations are just so much higher than that. So I think all three of us combined, every time we're on a call together, we're always thinking about the next thing. So we released V2, and it was instantly, what's next? And we basically just jumped right into it. So it's been an awesome journey, and it's crazy to see how far we've come along so far and what we've got in the pipeline.
Ryan, can I ask you a question before we move on to Kyle? I'm curious because you've been in this business for a couple of years longer than Kyle has. Was I alone in that thinking, or did you have a similar epiphany of why isn't there a tool specifically for land investors? Or did that never dawn on you?
Yeah, everything it felt so broken. It almost felt like you weren't doing the right thing in business. It's like you're pulling from a real estate software data export company. You're putting in filters in DataTree that don't even make sense. The filters for exporting land is not land. It's 0 to 200 square foot building size. And we had to figure that out on our own. There was no developer that was helping out land investors specifically. So you feel very alone, and you feel like you're doing the wrong thing. So it's the question in my head was, why is nobody helping? And just nobody did. So somebody had to do it, and it ended up being us. I didn't expect that, but
Yeah.
but
Never
it's like
thought.
a land investing specific software. Like it doesn't exist, and now it does.
Kyle, what do you think about all that, man?
Yeah, I'm coming from it from a little bit different angle. So I've done some different SaaS projects in the past, and they actually all failed for different reasons. I learned a lot about product market fit. I learned a lot about building different, types of products for different industries. But when I kind of got introduced to you, Sumner, over YouTube, and I started watching land videos, I was like, dude, this would work really well for software. Because I had previously built a all-in-one tool set for podcasters. Little did I know, podcasters are mostly hobbyists and don't have a lot of, they're not a business, they're not a business to basically build. Yeah, they don't have cash to basically continue development, right? So you can continue to build a good product. So yeah, I learned a lot through that. So when I kind of came into land, I was thinking, I'm going to build a great tool for me. It'll be my edge. And then, eventually we linked up at the Lee event, and then I kind of showed you what I was working on, and we started collaborating together, and we kind of came up with this really long roadmap of what if we just put all the tools in the tool belt that for a land investor. And that's how I kind of see the world is everything is just a tool, when it comes to a business, and how can we automate things? How can we make everything super efficient? And so I don't have to do anything, or my team is higher leverage. In fact, I think I even have like a screenshot. I'll have to find it. It's a scanned document, maybe in my Dropbox, of my first sketch of like what I wanted my software to be, because my company is called Red Stag Land. So I have Red Stag tools, and I have this simple box with a navigation, and like, here's what I want. And it was just you basically price mailers. That's all I wanted it to do. I wanted to do a couple other things, and it's grown so much past that. Just into this Land Insights product. And of course, you guys, you started, and I want to touch on the idea of V1. So there's this guy named Reid Hoffman. He's a famous guy in startups. He has this quote. He says, "If you aren't embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late."
Mm-hmm.
So it's so true. I feel that about everything I build, even what we're launching now. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be, we know it's going to be just deliver a lot of value, but as a creator and someone building something, you're never happy with what you've built, especially if you have a perfection mindset. I'm sure Sumner feels the same way about, YouTube videos you make. Everyone thinks they're awesome, but in your own heart, you're like, I know I could have done that 10x better. But you just can't live your life that way. You have to kind of make stuff and put it out there and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, dude. I think that even if you're not a Land Insights user and never will be, I ultimately hope there's something that you can still glean from this, which is a really cool story. And it's cool because we've been able to document this from the beginning. I don't say this to be hyperbolic, but I think we have a really fair chance of building the best real estate tool in general. Now that starts with land investors, and we'll always kind of serve that demographic, but there's a lot of opportunity even outside of that. And it's just cool to watch something get iterated and captured and documented. And so that whole journey has been documented. And I think that's really cool. And I think that a lot of what I've learned from this experience, and I don't want to, again, go off the rails, we get some more things to hit on, but like this whole process was such a good example of who, not how, every step of the way. From how Rylan and I partnered up, from how Kyle and Rylan and myself all partnered up, and even into all the things that we released, even like when we look at the data platform, when we talk about how do we go build the best UI possible, it's like, we haven't really done that at a high level. So who's the person we can go and find? And so we've gotten ourselves in deeper waters than we could have ever handled on our own by finding amazing people to work with or partner with. And it's just a really cool case study in that. And anyone can apply what we've done here into their own domain. It could be land investing, it could be anything else. And this story has played out exactly the same with Leah. It's exactly the same in my land business. And so far it's exactly the same in land emails, which we're launching November 18th. Dude, all of those things out of the gate were just nothing but a steaming pile of crap. They just sucked. They're so bad out of the gate. My land business was so bad out of the gate. But if you can just iterate and stay in the game, beautiful things happen. All right, Kyle, you probably have more context to share about this than anyone really does. But like, let's just peel back the curtain to some extent in terms of what this actual processes look like and kind of the insanity that's come along with building a data platform from the ground up, and I would say record-breaking time. And building something that, frankly, it's not, hey, like we're just going to go and sell you data. It's like, let's actually kind of rethink how a data business works entirely as it relates to the land business. And so pretty much everything has been built from the ground up. There's really no overlap from just about any tool that I've ever used, and that's challenging.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I can kind of go over how I think about things and how I think the best products are built. And it's probably very similar to how you build it. Really, any business is the first step is kind of do a trade study. So we went and looked at a lot of different tools that we were familiar with and tools that we weren't familiar with too. You know, data tree, land vision, property radar. What was the one that you mentioned? PropStream. We kind of looked at
Regrid.
Yeah, Regrid. Yeah, there's some folks in the chat that threw some out there. List Source. We didn't look at that one. I knew that one. I didn't want to look at that. That was I didn't want to grace my eyes with that website. Agent Pro 24/7. Don't know that one. Regrid, List Source. Yeah. So Ben said something's made for suckers. Probably List Source. So yeah, I mean, we went and looked at what is everyone doing, what is everyone not doing. As professional land investors, what do we really want and need? If we can wave a wand and for our acquisition team, for our ops team, for our marketing team, what would that look like, right? It's got to be easy to use. It's got to be beautiful. It's got to have features that not only beginner land investors want, right? I want this county with this acreage to this acreage. We want things that people operating at the top of their game, 7 figures, 8 figures, are needing. And these tools have, for instance, data tree, land vision, they're serving a lot of markets. They're serving commercial folks, they're serving residential folks. Probably the least they're serving is land folks. So we just kind of started to look at, how are all these different tools doing what they're doing? What's the workflow? I went through and took screenshots of every single tool out there and exactly their workflow. And we kind of reverse engineered what do we like and what do we don't like? What's the fastest way of exporting data? What's the most convenient way? And, be able to offer things that other platforms don't, that are relevant to land investors and probably not for commercial folks, because there's a lot of things in land vision that you're paying for that you're not going to use, So that was kind of the first step, is look at the competition, and then also fold in what we want and what we need and what we've been dreaming of for tools. Like, for instance, we've been thinking about portfolio owners. I know Jerry's really big into portfolio owners, so we've actually been collaborating with him to build out kind of his dream setup for how he would want, basically how looking up portfolio owners and all that kind of stuff would work. Since we have metrics, we have certain things that other platforms don't even care to add. For instance, if you click on a parcel in our tool, not only do you want to see kind of who's the owner, where do they live, all that stuff, we actually will show you the metrics. We'll say, hey, this parcel is 7 acres. We're going to show you the metrics, the sell-through metrics of 5 to 10 acres. That's super useful because you can know, is this worth buying or is it not worth buying? Or how should I construct my offer given the sell-through rate, right? So we kind of just tried to fuse what we had, all the data that we had around, market selection. And then we've sourced basically the gold standard in data, and we're updating our data every day. If there is a transaction, then we know about it. And that's for the whole United States. We don't only have land data, we have residential data. So pretty much if something is sold or bought, we know about it. So I'd say that's probably the start. So then once you kind of have this idea of, okay, here's what people are doing, here's what we want to do, how do we pull the best ideas out of every single thing that's been thought of so far, and then let's add our special take on it, just for land investors. And that's kind of how you start, and then I started sketching up on paper. Here's sort of, oh, this would go there, maybe that would go there. And then we hired a full-time designer to basically take that and kind of turn into something that's more palatable for the eyes, right? And we went back and forth for a while before we landed on kind of a set design, kind of a pattern, right? Buttons look like this. When someone tries to do this thing, this is kind of the pattern that we use across the whole UI. We built up a library of components, and then we started building out pages off of that. So yeah, that's kind of how you start. And then you start thinking about workflows, this page. What's the best way of doing it? What's the fastest way? What do people expect intuitively? Because, people nowadays, they have like an intuition. They have an expectation, unspoken expectation about how they expect software to work, right? If you get on Facebook, you can use Facebook without really knowing being taught to use how to use Facebook. You can learn, most people that are young can learn a new tool very quickly because there's just certain things that you've been programmed to recognize patterns. You just expect things to happen. So we wanted to pull all the best kind of ideas and then put it in one platform. Now, then you have to pretty much write down exactly how you accomplish that for engineers. So one of my roles in Land Insights is to basically be the program manager or the product manager for the engineers to just, hey, we're going to do this week. We're going to do this next week. If there's issues that pop up, right, we have to manage that. There's risk management, there's schedule management. There's a lot of, I would call it more, I don't know, maybe the more boring parts of building a product. But we basically build our product week by week. And I'm reviewing code every day, probably 4 to 6 times a day. We're making changes to our app, basically 4 to 6 times a day, and it's always evolving. It's just a lot of kind of management of tasks and that kind of stuff. Again, it's not that exciting to the average person, but the fun part is kind of dreaming what you want, and then the hard part is like making that a reality week to week, day to day. And I'm excited. I know we're going to share a little bit about the tool and kind of our roadmap in the future. So was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on there?
Yeah, can I let me preface basically what this launch on the 21st is going to do to everybody's land business. So as you guys can relate, the land business is broken up to tabs on tabs on tabs. There's a reason why a lot of us have 3-4 monitors at our home office. It's because we're moving between software, whether that be like a data export software, a Trello board, your CRM, your market research database, whatever you're doing, that it's all broken. And for the first time with this launch, I feel like it's all in one place. So from start to finish, literally like your whole acquisition can be run through Land Insights now. So you need to put out marketing. Okay, go into market research, select a few markets, write notes on those, fill out a spreadsheet of what the values are in that market. And then, okay, chose our market. Let's go export it. You click export, you go into the data export, you put in your filters, your criteria, you put maybe 5 to 1,000 acres. You set your criteria, maybe out-of-state owners, export. Okay, from there, you can literally in our platform skip trace your owners at the same time as you exporting. And it'll go into our skip tracing platform and start skip tracing. So now there's no need to export, sort out your spreadsheet, remove all the columns you don't need, re-import it, skip trace it, and then export. There's no need for that. Now you can literally just skip trace and export at the same time as you just exporting the owner records. Okay, so now you throw out your mailer, you maybe send mail, you send text, emails, whatever you want to do, whatever your marketing is, those deals start coming through. And I don't think we've built enough awareness around this, but our due diligence platform is bringing basically all of the due diligence platforms you've ever used and bringing it into one. So a lead comes in, you have the APN in the county, you search it inside Land Insights, identifies the property, and we have all of the overlays. So we have our wetland flood zone overlays, we have contour lines. We click on the property, we can confirm the owner, their address, coordinates, acreage, and then we have all of the data to support that. So we have purchase prices, so we can see when somebody bought it, how much they bought it for. We can see the previous owner as well in the data that goes with that previous owner. So not only are we seeing what they bought it for, we can also see the previous sale on top of that. And then we're bringing in sell-through metrics as well. And Kyle pointed this out earlier in this call. But if you've got a 5-acre property that came through, you can see the sell-through metrics that would be shown on Land Insights. So we'll bring in the sell-through rates. We'll bring in the active quantity available on the market right now, the last sold in the last year, stuff like that. So now, for once, I feel like I can just have one tab open other than my CRM. So a CRM lead comes through, instantly plug it into Land Insights. We don't have to go anywhere else. We've all got it in one place. I know a lot of you are using a mix of Data Tree and Land ID. You guys have seen that if you're in Leah and on the coaching program. We're always constantly moving between tabs, and it's just frustrating, and it breaks your focus. We haven't done a time study on this yet, but I can bet you're probably saving 50% of your time by just using Land Insights once you start using it. And I'm excited to run these time studies with my team, but I think it's going to be 50% savings just because we're in one place and we can maintain that focus and do all the due diligence we possibly need to do inside one platform without having to go outside of that.
That's right.
So that's basically what we're solving. That's to preface it, and we can move in to showing you guys a little sneak peek.
Yeah, you want to do a demo?
Yeah, let's do it. Before we do a demo, I just have one question. Kyle, in terms of, I mean, you've obviously done difficult things and held difficult positions and accomplished a lot professionally. How would you rank the last, let me just say 2024 on a difficulty scale, 10 being climbing Everest, 1 being your sleep?
Oh, on effort or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perceived effort.
Yeah. Okay. RPE.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'd probably say a solid 7.
Okay.
I've worked in autonomous vehicles. I was leading a division, a few companies building autonomous vehicles. And that's kind of my specialty. I come from robotics and AI. And believe me, we're going to pull a lot of that knowledge into Land Insight. There's certain things I'm not going to even bother, talking about, because I think people will just might borrow the tech. So I'm not going to even mention what's coming down the pipeline there in terms of AI, because I have some good ideas there. But yeah, definitely probably a 7. I'd say running a land business and building a software business would not recommend for sleep or stress, but I know it's going to benefit a lot of people here. So and it's just really cool to build cool stuff, to be honest. Yeah. So it's well worth it.
Would you have it any other way?
Hell no.
There you go. Wow. That's always the answer, man. Sometimes I have hard days and I'm like, dude, I wouldn't actually have it any other way. So why am I even complaining? All right, let's do a little demo. Someone in the chat, might have been Benji, said, Sumner, where's the cigar at? Should I whip out a Cuban on this thing? Should we celebrate before we really dig deep on this? What do you guys think?
Light it.
All right.
Guys, I forgot to add one thing to my whole spiel on the all-in-one platform. There's MLS comp overlays on our map, by the way, which doesn't exist anywhere else. I don't know why I left that out.
All right, Robin. All right. Okay.
Dang. Well, the cat's out of the bag. It's okay. We'll talk about that here. If you guys are confused what that is, we'll talk about that here in a second. As you guys queue it up, I'm going to grab a nice Cuban cigar and we'll get this party started the real way.
All right. Let's see here. All right, y'all. Cool. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. All right, guys. So yeah, here's kind of a preview of what Ryan was covering here. Yeah, man. So let's talk about the due diligence panel here. Well, you're probably curious first of all.
Are you sharing your screen right now?
I thought I was.
I can't see it.
Can't see it?
Team can't see it. Oh, try it again. I think I know the issue. Sorry, y'all. Try it one more time, Kyle. That was there we go.
Oh, you gotta prove it?
And I gotta add it. So go pull up the tab that you want. Pull up the tab that you want first.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Everyone, I'm going to pull off the blindfold and we're going to reveal in 3, 2, 1, go.
Whoosh. Are we live? Is it good?
We're live.
All right, cool, guys. All right, so man, where to start? I think we should start a little bit on our data layers. So you might notice we have a few. We got wetlands, flood zone. We're working on soil. We have an AI detected building layer, so you can actually see right here. There's buildings that are detected across the whole United States. By the way, you can hear here's an example here. So one thing that's kind of ninja is, we get data from counties. Counties have limited resources. Some counties have a lot of resources. Some counties have almost none. So they're not able to really keep up with, honestly, what parcels have buildings on them and what not. Maybe people are building stuff and they don't tell the county, or they told the county. One division knows about it, but then the zoning department approved it, it's built, but then for some reason the parcel records never get updated. So we've actually gone through and built kind of a computer vision model to detect the entire United States and buildings. So you can see here that we've detected that there's 3 buildings. This one's a little hidden. Some over here, some over here. And this actually helps us know if something's truly vacant or not. Okay. We have a lot of other layers. Also, it's very cool just to zoom out and you can see all the little specks of green, neon green. I think that's pretty cool here. All right. So let's just say we get a lead into our pipeline. Maybe we send a mailer and William calls us, right? So we're able to basically pull up William, and here he is. So you can see his APN. By the way, if you notice, when I hover over a lot of items, we have this little ninja copy. So if you see something you like, right, you can just copy this and then paste it in somewhere, or it's, what have you. But we've designed this to be super user friendly. And the first thing you're going to see is his name, the acreage, the county, APN, this is zip code. And then you're going to immediately see, hey, here's the metrics. So for 20 to 40 acres, 62.5% sell-through rate on a year basis, 5 is sold in the last year. And then we kind of dive into what I would call our, at a glance view, our summary view. This is what your acquisition manager is going to be looking at, guys. What do they want to know? Or what are the things that they're going to want to access immediately? When did they buy it, right? That's going to help you decide how aggressive to go on negotiation. What do they buy it for? What type of deed it is? You may be wasting a lot of your time. You may, I don't know. At least I found my acquisition manager wasting a lot of time originally on, talking to people with certain deeds that are just kind of junk or, whatever. It would be a clouded title basically, right? So that's immediately useful. The zoning, the GPS coordinates, these are very accurate GPS coordinates. I don't know if anyone's ever tried these GPS coordinates from DataTree. They're not good. Because they're calculated based on zip code. So for some areas, in DataTree at least, the GPS coordinates could be all the same, right? So if you're trying to plot them on a map, you're gonna have a bad time. So we actually have, since we have all the parcel geometry in the whole United States, that's this, for example, this blue line here, we're actually calculating the GPS coordinates based on the center point of this parcel. So these are super, super accurate GPS coordinates. We can tell you if it's in an HOA, it's a family transfer. If you want to see Google Maps, you can pop open to here and you can see if there is Street View. There actually happens to be. So, right, you could take a look if you wanted to.
Someone's got a semi truck on their property, man. That's unbelievable. Never know what you're gonna find on Google Street View.
I mean, have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen those people that there's competitions where they'll like show them images of Google Maps and they have to guess where it is?
Yeah.
What is it? GeoGuessing?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I heard of a guy that was from somewhere like the Netherlands, I think, that like created. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember what the premise was exactly, but he was printing off of it. Printing. It's crazy.
Yeah, geoguessing is there's professional geoguessers. So yeah, so I know we got a Google link here, and we also have a Google Earth link. You can pop open, and we also have something called calculated area acres. Sometimes it might show a property is that the county thinks it's this size, but when we actually go look in the meets and bounds on the deed, we see a different number. So that could actually be a very interesting arbitrage play of, well, the county says it's this, so I'm going to offer them this price. But then I know if I were to technically survey it, it would be this. So I kind of get more acres with a lower offer. Then we kind of show things like this is more of the parcel related data. It's farmland, 0% improved owner. Again, you can immediately tell where they are. Do they live out of state? Yes, they do. Do they live out of zip? Yes. This was probably a bug, which we'll take a look at. But if they live out of state, they're going to live out of county, right? You can see they've owned it for 4 years.
One thing I just want to hit on really quickly, and
Yeah.
I think it's subtle points like this that really move the needle for me. The fact that right there we can go and see the ownership length spelled out in plain English, opposed to, oh, the owner bought it in 1997 and you have to go pay for a report or go and dig for that. It's subtle features like that that only a land investor would know is needed in a platform, right? And to me, when you start to accumulate hundreds of those in a tool, it's one of those tools where you leave happier at the end of your session than when you started, because you're like, this tool read my mind and everything was served up on a silver platter. I think that's so cool. So it's a subtle point, but there's a lot of those subtleties that move the needle.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, it's just reducing friction, and it creates leverage over lots of deals. These things add up. So you're totally right. You can see the prior owner, and if you really say so, yeah, it does show 4 years ago. But if you actually wanted to know the date, you can grab it right here, right?
That's
and
so cool. So cool.
Yeah. And this one you can see prior owner bought it for 32, and then this guy bought it for 10.
God, I love that, dude. I
Looks
can't
like it was,
tell you how much that matters to me. That's so important.
So you can break it down here. This guy's, I think his last name's Clark. I think probably his brother or his dad bought it for $32,000, and then he didn't want it anymore. So he sold it to someone in his family at a discount. So this guy got it cheap, as you can tell. So this helps with negotiation so much. Like this is something we added more recently, like in the last year, is we're always tracking those transfers of specifically the cash price sold, because there could be a property that's worth $200,000 and they bought it for $10,000 last year. So we're going to negotiate way heavier and try to get a much better deal out of it just by seeing that pricing data. And we used to do this blind. We would just look at the value of the land and just offer half of it. But now it's like we're putting all this together, and we can kind of figure out the story of this property. If you know the story of it without even contacting the owner, you can come into it and negotiate way better and get way better deals.
I want to tell you guys a quick kind of parable on top of that. Dude, I always tell people in this business, the way we get paid is in proportion to knowing where to spend our time. And it's the same thing for our team. Once you learn how to generate leads, it's about, I've got 1,000 in my CRM. Who's the 20 people that are worth my attention? And it's not always so blatant as in this person's like, yeah, I'm ready to sell right now. So it's like, how do we know how to stay in the fight? And there's a bunch of little breadcrumbs that we look at, but one of them is, what's their basis in the property? When they buy it, was it an interfamily sale? And I talk to a lot of new land investors when they share a deal with me, and I'm like, what's the background? They're like, I have no idea. I'm like, well, why don't you have any idea? Like, I don't know how to find that information, or it's cumbersome. I'm like, before we get on a call with a seller, we are always getting that info inside of our CRM, and we're aware of it. And for me, like, it certainly does influence, it can influence our offer, but really what it influences for me is how much grit do we need to bring to this owner? Because if their basis is low and it has an interfamily sale, they might be giving me a lot of lip service today about not wanting to sell, but I'll stay in that fight because I know the story with them and the property. It's those additional context clues that show you where to spend time and when you want to kind of be like, okay, I'm done with this lead. And that skill set's so important for you or for your team. Where do you spend time? Who do you shoo away and who do you bring in?
That's right. Trying to make that story as clear as possible, as fast as possible.
Yeah, and the fact that you have instant visibility inside of this due diligence card. You don't have to go pay for additional reports or hunt this info down on the county assessor's website. Yeah, it's just those subtle breadcrumbs that really make an amazing platform, in my opinion. I mean, you guys might feel differently, the people on this call, but these are the things that really matter to me. And I know anyone that's operating at a high level feels the same way. So yeah, it's subtle, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, it creates leverage. For your team, against other land investors. Not, there's enough pie to go around, but everyone enjoys an edge.
One thing I want to say on that, Kyle, I was talking about this in a video recently. I don't think it's aired yet, but I think that there's levels to competition, and there's kind of like a cycle that every industry goes through. And without a shadow of a doubt, like every industry matures and becomes more efficient, and land will be no different. I think the timelines are long, and there are people that still make a career out of it even 20 years in. I mean, there's guys still making $1 million a month wholesaling, but the bar gets raised. I think initially the bar gets raised on like the skill access, like that's the area you need to improve on, is your skills as a land investor. So if you're playing the willy-nilly shotgun approach, it might not work as well anymore. Probably still works, just not great. So you need to skill up. And then I think as you get deeper into things, it's like, okay, then it's visibility. Can I have visibility to data that no one else can have? And that's a real edge. And then beyond that, it's like, can I have access to tools that no one has? I don't think we're at the stage in the land business where this will define either you're not successful or you are successful, but it's like getting on steroids right now because it's such an unfair edge. And as the business matures and becomes more efficient, these things will become prerequisite to some extent, I think. And that's why when you look at wholesaling, for example, 20 years ago, they might just go cold call any old list. Nowadays, they're stacking multiple lists to go and whittle it down, so they're taking shots on goal. So they're in the visibility stage. And I've even seen that they're moving into some like the tool stage with these crazy AI offer solutions and stuff. But I think that same maturing cycle will happen in lands. We're just way ahead of the ball with something like this.
That's right. So yeah, and here's the metrics. We have plenty of space here to add more as well. But what the goal here was to show the trend line, right? 1 month, 1 month, in the past month, 1, 3, 6, right? You can kind of see if things are accelerating or slowing down. You can see what's competition or, what's selling right now, and decide for yourself if this is a property you want to pick up and how deep of an offer you want to give. And then we have things about mortgage. I've had deals that have been killed by a mortgage. I thought it was a great subdivide. I look at it and it's like several $100,000 of owed on it. So I'm like, probably not. But had I known that, we wouldn't have wasted as much time on it. And we threw the school district in here too. So one thing I want to point out about the mortgage, if there was a mortgage, it actually would show up as a little tag right here in the top right-hand corner, which is really nice because as you look at the chain of ownership, you're like, okay, well, mortgage. And I believe that'll actually show up in here too, if there is one. That way your acquisition manager can pick it up immediately. Guys, let me show you some other stuff here. So let's see, as far as data layers, we have a roads layer. So this is basically just highlighting, hey, here's the road, right? You can kind of zoom out and get a sense of, here we go, where the road network is. You might notice we have some flood zone kind of data in here. We have 100-year and we have 500-year. So if it's the darker it is, the more risk there is, right? So 100-year is going to be dark, and then 500-year chance is lighter. Okay. We also have wetlands, so you can see that. Go into the 3D view. We will have, just like in the rest of our tools, in our market selection tool and scrubbing tool, right now we do have like a 3D view where the topography is actually rolling. So we're going to have that. It's just not in there right now, but it will be there for launch. You're probably wondering, what are these tags? Well, they're comps. Since we have all the MLS data, we actually render it on the map.
This is where things start to get crazy.
Yeah, this is just absurd at this point.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, a sold comp. Boom. There it is.
Say goodbye to Redfin bugs.
And if you're a Leah member and you've gone through the Google My Maps pricing strategy, this is the done for you solution. Just as an overlay, no cost. It's just you get to toggle us on and off. And so even before you export your data, you can go and see this stuff as an overlay. And it's beautiful. You can see it for running comps. You can see it on your data sets. Again, this is only something that would be relevant to a land investor, in my opinion. It's so cool. And the fact that you don't even have to leave the app to get a card on that comp, right? So if you click on it, you can get like a little kind of comp card that shows you kind of like the main KPIs or stats on it. And then if you want to actually go pro further, you can click on it and export out. So boom, you got all the pertinent information right there. Days on market, subdivision, price, and then you can actually go and pop out and go take a look at the comp.
That's right. Yeah, we show sold, active, and pending. What's really going to be Ninja is we're going to have a polygon selection tool. Probably going to come 2 weeks after we launch, 2 to 3 weeks after we launch. But essentially, you'll be able to say, oh, yeah, I see where all the sold comps are. I'm going to go ahead and try to get that section maybe a little bit outside of it, right? So you're kind of building, as you can see, it becomes very obvious where a lot of pending is. You probably want to go here, right? Yeah. Maybe you want to grab this section. So you're able to make informed decisions about how to make sniper mailers. Wow, that is a lot of comps.
And you guys will see too, those red lines on there are separating the counties.
Right.
So those are the divvied up counties. And one thing just to add to what Kyle's talking about. So the Polygon feature is the next release. It won't be out the V1, but it's coming right behind it. It's a few weeks behind. Yes. Now, one of the reasons that it's slightly staggered and one of the cool things about it is you have like a positive, negative polygon, include, exclude polygon, which is such a cool feature.
I can pull that up. Let me see. Guys, this is kind of behind the scenes. So this is how we build the product. We design it kind of with a graphic designer, and then we build it. So we kind of iterate in design land, and then we add that. So here's our filter parcel section. I'll actually show that to you guys in a little bit. It's actually right here. But we're going to have this polygons thing. You click add zone, and what's going to happen is it's going to drop you into this mode here where it says click to draw a shape, and you got a positive and a negative little pin, almost like you're in Photoshop. Okay. So you go in and in this case, we clicked draw. We're drawing, we like this section here, but we don't like the middle part. So we click negative. Maybe it could be a mountain range or like whatever it might be, and get rid of it. This is going to work across counties, by the way. So just because we zoom out and you see, look, there's some sort of clustering here across counties, you could grab this. You don't have to say this county only. You don't have to like make 2 polygons and do 2 exports and all that stuff, right? You can kind of design it how you want. And once you've created those kind of additive and removal sections, essentially right here, you can see them. You can continue to filter down and whittle down even further, right? Maybe you only wanted people that live in this area that live out of state, or sorry, that parcels in this area where people live out of state, or sections of a zip code or what have you. So there's a lot of things you can do with the polygon. You can add as many as you want. So that's kind of that thing that we're going to quick follow.
We also hold on one thing, Kyle. I just want to answer one of the questions in the chat from DBL. So just clarifying that the ability to download records inside of Polygon is post-release. So that's following 2 to 3 weeks behind. That's the first launch after V1. So you're talking about essentially early December. And part of the reason is it's a convoluted polygon. It's not as simple as let me just draw this boundary and I want all of that. It's kind of like a multifaceted polygon. So it's the next release after V1. It's the first thing on the roadmap.
Yeah, it'll be a quick follow for sure. We already have some of it built out, but we had to make a decision between releasing things that we feel super comfortable with that we know we're going to work, and things we just don't want to release things just because. We want to release things that are dialed in in this case, because obviously a lot of people are going to be using it. So yeah, that's a good question. So let me jump over to the filters parcels part. So let's see here. So I can just click on either one of these. So this is how you would pick up a parcel list. So let's search Kershaw County. We pick on this county inside for the engineering team. So notice how fast that is.
Just show that one more time. Just show them the speed one more time. It's absolutely blistering fast.
So let me do 3. It's already updated.
Boom.
10,000 parcels. Let me do 1,000. 11,000 parcels.
That's bonkers, dude. The speed is just lightning fast.
So I'll keep on the county. So if you zoom in, you can see all the parcels that are in this list, right? And the ones that are not. Now, maybe we want to do max out the improvement percentage to, max 10%. We could come in here and say, yeah, I want people that live out of state. So whittles it down again, right? Because a lot of people, if you're sending 10,000 mailers a month, you have your certain how much you want to send, right? You want to send 2,500 or whatever it might be, or whatever your target is. So you can kind of iteratively whittle things down. So that was really important for me to make it super fast. So as you're tweaking things, it just basically updates as you go. So if I went up here and said 0, 4,000 parcels, right? And if you want to scrub it, you could come in here and say, all right, remove the landlocks. I want to deduplicate parcel owners. And when deciding between which one to keep, which one to throw away, I want you to keep the larger parcel. And by the way, I want no more than 60% of wetlands or 60% of flood coverage. Road frontage coming soon. Slope.
Kyle, one thing I want to click on that too. Aaron had a question, and I might have answered it inappropriately. He said, would we be able to download the amount of road frontage or something like that? So I think he's talking about as a search parameter on the front end opposed to scrubbing once you already have the data set.
Yeah. So basically, yes. So you would be able to download, we call it kind of like the entire data set and the clean data set. So if you want to download the road frontage, or say you're scrubbing out wetlands, we're going to tell you what the percentage is. So if you want to download everything, we would give it to you still.
Okay. So Aaron, I might have slightly misanswered your question. You can do it at the export stage, but you're going to get both data sets, sounds like.
Yeah. So once you basically hit export, here, let me actually show you that. So,
but one thing that's important too, Kyle, it's not going to pre-populate on the map because it is an AI scrub. So we don't have that already tagged for every single property in there. So it's not like stuff that we're pulling from the county level to where you can say, hey, this owner's owned it for 10 years and we can pre-populate that for you. This is going to be at export, correct?
Yeah. So once you export, we're going to basically, or once you click export, I'll just go ahead and show you here. So say we wanted to scrub and you would click, by the way, you can skip trace as well, which is what Rylan said. So you can actually skip trace. So we'll just choose standard here, right? It's going to give you, well, this text isn't right, but it would tell you what it is. Click export. So look at this. It shows you this many parcels. You could go inspect any of these if you wanted to. If you clicked here, it would drop you in, and it gives you a breakdown of what the purchase is going to require. And you could break it down even further here, right? 6 credits per record. You can see exactly kind of where the cost is adding up from. And then you would click purchase. And then what would happen is our AI would go through and scrub everything. And then it would drop you into a view like this. It'll drop you into something like this. Well, it kind of look like what we were just looking at here. And then there'll be a download button. And you just download it.
I want to hit on a couple of things there too. And we'll talk about some of the specifics deeper into the call. But a few things to mention, because there might be some new folks on here or some folks that aren't in the know. So let's just briefly talk about the pricing model for data. So if you're a Land Insights user with no minimums, no exceptions, no additional monthly charge, none of that, you're at 6 cents per record. Okay, so 6 credits. 1 credit is 1 cent. We use a credit-based system inside the app. So 6 cents per record. If you're on a typical kind of comparable plan through DataTree or something, you're going to be at $300 a month for a similar a la carte price, but of course you're not getting the litany of all the other features. Now, again, this is only available to Land Insights users. There may be a future down the road where we have a light version that just has access to data. It's a whole different story. But for now, it's all under one umbrella. It's kind of like the Costco model, right? It's the same $500 a month subscription. You get all the bells and whistles and are automatically at the 6 cents per record a la carte. With that, you get free landlocked scrubs, and you get 50% off every single scrub. All other scrubs for standard users are at 4 credits or 4 cents. So every scrub's at 2 cents. That includes road frontage and all the future scrubs that we're adding in. We'll talk about timelines for that as well here in a second. Skip tracing is the standard. It's the same exact credit model. There's no price break on skip tracing because skip tracing is extremely expensive for us. It's really not a profit center for us. It's just expensive. Now on the flip side, if you're saying, hey, I'm doing in excess of 75,000 polls per year, that's the trigger. You're then going to be at our unlimited data plan. Now you can elect for that. You don't have to upgrade, but the unlimited data plan is $4,500 a month. You could be pulling 100,000, 200,000 records a month. Like, huh?
4,500 a year. You said a month.
Oh yeah, 4,500 a year. And you could be like Ryan and I pulling, or Kyle too, hundreds of thousands of records a month. There's no cap on that, no fine print, anything like that. And that involves the same discounts, free landlocked scrubs, 50% off all the other scrubs as well. Now, again, 75,000 records is the trigger. That's when the price starts to make sense to upgrade to unlimited. By no means do you have to, but that option is in there as well. Boom.
That's right. It's perfect. Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions on what Kyle? If you guys have any more questions, feel free to pop them inside the chat. Brian has a question. Is this actual MLS data or pulling from the typical third-party MLS sites?
All the data. I don't really know how to answer that.
He's asking about the overlay. So we click on a comp, it links to Zillow.
Yeah, I mean Zillow and Redfin are showing you MLS data.
Yeah.
But it's not via. I think really that question is more as it relates to non-disclosure states and licenses within theirs to have the back end access to MLS data that you otherwise wouldn't on other platforms. Jerry says, is the portfolio search feature in there? So that search feature, I'm trying to look at where that is on our roadmap.
That is coming very soon. So
that's yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, so that's like fast follow right after polygons.
Yeah, so we have, when I look at our roadmap, Jerry, the 2 features that are coming out essentially right after launch is owner portfolio. We have that tagged at 2 weeks, and then polygons, we have that tagged at 3 weeks. So actually on here, owner portfolio slightly ahead of it, but those will be built out in conjunction. And frankly, that stuff already exists. For us, though, we don't want to release half-baked features because it's just like when I was using some of the other tools that won't be named, I was pulling a lot of data to get burned on my marketing. Our biggest fear is that there's some inaccuracy there. And when someone's paying big bucks on their marketing, that's a real risk for us. We don't want to put anyone in a situation like that. So everything has got to be fully baked. And so those are the 2 features following kind of directly after. V1, which will be beginning of December.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Rylan.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add on what we're working on as well, with the soil overlay, nobody knows how to read those, right?
Yeah.
You see class SE, loamy soil. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? We don't understand what that means. So we're going in and doing our research on all of these soil overlays, and we're going to make it super basic for you guys. The question is, when you look at soil, is it going to perk? So we're going to do like a sliding scale of maybe it will perk, likely to perk, should perk. So you click on a soil overlay, and it's just going to give you a ranking of how likely it is that it'll perk. So that's one thing we're adding, which I'm pretty excited about because I don't know how to read those soil.
I don't know how to read it either. And look, that's not to take to the peak and replace the need for a perk test, but it's a good trigger to say, should I get a perk test, right? And again, I don't know about you guys, but I want it broken down in like caveman speak, like good soil, bad soil. Just keep it for us.
Real.
DBL's got a question for pricing and scrubs. How does it stack? Good question. So he says, if I have 2,000 records, but 800 are scrubbed out as landlocked, I'd only pay for skip traces on the remaining 1,200. So yes, it goes export, scrub, and then skip. So you're only paying skips in the post-scrub data. We don't want anyone to get charged on bad data.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. You're charged. We figure out skip tracing after you've AI scrubbed. And then on top of that, you're only charged for skips that actually hit. So if you scrub and you end up with 1,000 records, and then you skip trace, you end up with 800, you're only going to get charged for skipping for 800.
It's a really important point. I don't know about you guys, but like it depends on the market and the skip trace service you're using, but you're never going to get 100% hit rate. So we don't feel like you guys should be charged on non-hits. That just doesn't feel fair. So it's just an important clarification. I know a lot of people on this call probably aren't doing huge quantities of skip tracing. Our demographic's more male, but as you guys advance in your business, skip tracing will play a big role. One of the features that's coming out as well, it's not going to be in V1, but following somewhat shortly after, is free single skips, right? So a lot of situations are like, I don't want to run a full skip job. I just need one owner's phone number to go call him or the neighbor or what have you. And so free single skips as well.
Correct. Yeah. You literally can just like click on a parcel like here, and there'll be a little area, like a shelf down here soon enough. And there'll be a button where you can just say skip, and it'll pop up and tell you how to contact them. Yeah.
Super cool. Guys, if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Kyle, is there anything else that you want to show on your side?
What do I else want to show? Oh yeah, I was going to show a little bit about the owner portfolios since Jerry asked.
I want to let Jerry know too. This feature was literally built for you. Like, I mean, a lot of people want portfolios, but no one's doing it at the level that you're doing it. And I think that's an important point to know. It's not that just Jerry's a favorite. It's also, we really take the feedback to heart. In fact, when you're inside of Land Insights, you'll see on the bottom left-hand corner, there's a place to submit feedback. Our team reviews all of those. All of them don't get put into production. Some are impossible or not relevant, but a lot of them do get sequenced in terms of what we think is most important. And we do take that stuff to heart. So this product is really just a byproduct of your guys' feedback in a lot of ways. So Jerry, this one's for you, man.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty much when you click on a owner, you'll see something that'll say, if they own multiple properties, they'll say, owns 12 other properties. You click that and it's going to pop you into this view here. Doreen Gibson Jr. I've seen her a lot in our designs here. In fact, she owns all these. You can see, she owns this many parcels, a total sum of acreage, number of states that it's spread across, the number of counties it's spread across. I kind of came up with this county density. It just tells you, like, is everything clustered in one county or is it really dispersed across the United States, and then the state density, right? And then it kind of drops you into a view where you can see all the parcels that they own, and you can dig in. In this design, we just kind of mocked it up to kind of have everything nearby. Doesn't really match what this shows, but you can kind of imagine that you'd be able to see these, and you could click on one of these and it would pop you in, and you could see this. You can kind of inspect one or all of their parcels by going one by one. And when you wanted to go back, you click back, and then it would take you back to here, and you could look at their other parcels. So it's we're open for feedback, but this is kind of what Jerry and I came up with.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. DBL, thanks for the kind words. He says he's got to pick up his daughter. He says you guys should be incredibly proud of what you're creating, delivering. So thank you, man. I mean, appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it. Again, if you guys have questions or general feedback or future requests or just things that are on your mind, put them in the chat. We've got more time here, so happy to go through those with y'all. Kyle, anything else we want to hit on in terms of revealing the platform, or do we want to move into launch specific?
I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's go into launch specifics.
Okay, cool. So launch is going down November 21st, okay? If you're a current Land Insights user, there's nothing you really have to do. You'll pop this in there and it'll be there. You'll just, one day it'll just, boom, it's there. You're good to go. This is really, the specifics are probably more related to non-Land Insights users or tentative Land Insights users. We'll talk about what those specifics look like. One thing too, whether you're using it or not, I highly recommend to join our launch party. We're streaming for 6 hours. Now, if we could do that in person, that would be even better, but we're all remote. You guys are all remote. So 6 hour live stream. I'll definitely be smoking a cigar. Rylan's probably going to black out. I don't know about Kyle. We're going to celebrate. It's going to be a good time. I recommend that you guys grab a drink or a cigar and hang out with us. Hell, maybe we'll even let some people come on the live stream with us and shoot the breeze with y'all, because we're going to be there for a long time, 6 hours. Yeah. So it's going to be 3 p.m. PST to 9 p.m. PST. That's on the 21st, which that's a Friday, correct? You guys want to correct me? Is that Friday? No.
It might be a Thursday.
15th is Friday.
Thursday. Oh, it's a Friday?
No, 20th is 21st.
21st and 21st is, sorry guys,
Thursday.
15th something else.
Thursday.
Yeah,
have a rough Friday.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason Kyle brought up the 15th is we're actually doing another live call on the 15th at 4 p.m. PST. That is not the launch party. We're just going to be talking and sharing more about the platform on the 15th. So 21st is the go live date. Now, the specifics that y'all need to know. If you're not a Land Insights user, we're opening up 40 seats to join the platform. So if you're an outsider, you're not using the tool, we're opening up 40 seats. As you guys know, Land Insights is still a platform that has limited quantity of users, and our users literally battle us on this constantly to not allow more people in. We are going to continue to grow, but at a slow pace. Ultimately, there probably is a tipping point, though, where we do have a junior version or a light version that does not include all of the market analytics and data analytics. That's more of just like a general, simple data platform for new land investors, while the big hit and caboodle will be limited at users. So we're opening up 40 spots in the launch on November 21st. With those, we're giving out 25,000 new credits. So 25,000 credits for folks that join during that launch. That's open for 24 hours. So that's just open for the 21st, and that cart is going to close, okay? Outside of that, it's obviously a little funky because we're moving into the holidays, but we still have some calls scheduled thereafter. So the next call is on the 25th. Is that right, Rylan? The 25th, yeah?
25th, yeah.
Yeah, 25th. This is not, promotional or anything like that. The 25th is quite literally just a live long demo. We're going to go through and be doing training on the platform. So if you're a user or even, a non-user, if you want to come and learn how to use the tool, it's going to be kind of like our first training webinar on the tool. There's definitely a learning curve. There's going to be some material shared to users at launch that'll help onboard you and prep you on the tool. We've got a whole new kind of catalog coming out thereafter. That's a whole training program for using the data tool, because at this point, the tools become complex. There's so many features within Land Insights. And so it's important that we've got really good onboarding and really good training to go along with that. Now, if you join in that cohort, every person is going to go through an onboarding call with Ari. Probably know Ari if you met him at the event. So everyone's going to go through typically about an hour-long onboarding call to get prepped. Everyone gets access to the Land Insights Discord channel, so any questions will go inside of there. And we do a monthly kind of internal Land Insights training call every month that everyone gets access to as well. Those are the launch specifics. Did I miss anything important? I guess what I will say too, if you guys want to get an early sneak peek and get a chance to join before that launch, you can go to landinsights.co/data and come get on a call where we'll kind of demo the tool with y'all. What else? What did I miss, guys?
Yeah, I mean, you can get, like, if you want to prioritize your spot and get a spot, you can hop on a call with Pete at one of his openings next week, and you can purchase Land Insights at its current version. So highly recommend it if you want to get early access and be able to access the data at launch.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, that's the lowdown. One thing that I want to talk about, and I think I've been clear about this from the beginning, is that Land Insights exclusively was a tool and is a tool until November 21st for intermediate/advanced land investors. I've always said that if you're getting started in this business, go learn the hard way, go do it the manual way, save some coin, and go and learn the process. Like, it's hard to go and have a tool do all the work for you when you don't even have context on what it's really doing. That is slightly starting to shift as we move into a data platform now. Now the kind of economics start to make a strong case if you're comparing all these other tools that you need access to even out of the gate for data and due diligence and whatnot. There is a case to be made. I would never push someone to do that. Depends on your budget. But I think we are opening up to a slightly new cohort of people. Even if they don't know how to maximize all of the more advanced tools, they'll grow into that. But even just the case to be made for the cost of data and the due diligence features at this point, the scrubbing, is a pretty strong case as well. So that is starting to open up, and before it was very, very particular in terms of who we were going after. And most of the users on there are advanced and are consistently doing deals and more importantly, consistently marketing. Kyle, Riley, anything that you just want to add to that? No? All good?
All good.
Well, Kyle, I know you hate when we do this, and it's up to your discretion. There's probably some stuff that we shouldn't talk about, but do you guys want to just touch on a little bit about the roadmap thereafter launch, just so people have some context on what's coming?
Yeah. I pulled up my list here. So owner portfolios, polygons for filtering. We're going to be introducing the soil data layer. Like Rylan said, it's going to be easy to use. It'll, basically tell you how the soil is doing like a human and not a, kind of a soil scientist. We're kind of with the contour layer, although you will be able to kind of have like a 3D view of the topo. So, contour view will help, but it actually kind of makes more sense to understand. For some people like me, I like to see just the visuals of how steep it is. Single skip trace. Let's see. We're working on some kind of like subdivide division tools, so it's easy. I know Land ID kind of has a way you can subdivide child parcels. We're working on a tool that's going to make that very easy and streamlined. We've already talked about our comping tool in the past. That's going to definitely change how acquisition teams basically figure out what properties are worth, how you figure out properties are worth. We're working on road frontage scrubbing, slope scrubbing. We're going to have a data layer. It's going to show you essentially what parts of a lot is buildable and not buildable based on the slope. We're currently we found a data source for basically the entire United States elevation down to 1 meter of accuracy, and we're going to be able to use that to figure out basically the topo down to a pretty much pinpoint. I don't know. I could keep going, guys, but stop me.
Yeah. One of the important features that's coming out early next year is what we're calling the V3 design launch. So let me just talk about that real quick. We brought on a UI UX designer who's been really helpful. And again, this is a good kind of testament to the who, not how idea. We all have maybe a decent grasp on design and kind of what we like, but there's a lot missing in our abilities. And so someone that can translate the whimsical, crazy ideas that Rylan and I might pitch, and then Kyle synthesizes that into code and being able to pass it off to the team. And then the designer helps synthesize that to something that actually looks cohesive and beautiful. And so one of the things that you'll see is that the data platform will have a slightly different look and feel than Land Insights currently. They are going to be running on slightly different design, parameters or SOP. I don't know how you want. Yeah. There's a slightly different design framework, and we've been building out what we're calling a V3 design framework. And the entire Land Insights platform is going to get a complete redesign. It's kind of crazy because we just went through a redesign in April or March. So we're going through another redesign. Ultimately, it's only going to be an improvement for our users. There'll be a subtle learning curve. We're not reinventing the wheel. But one of the things that I have felt strongly is when I leave a lot of these tools, I feel fucking stressed and burnt out. Who's ever pulled like a late night Saturday pulling data or working data or whatever, and like you're cooked? The platform crashes on you, it freezes, you forget how to search by this, like just all these little oddities that make it for a stressful and unenjoyable experience. Pulling data may never be ultimately a fun thing, but can we make it more enjoyable? And a good UI is one of those things. That's one of the reasons that I feel like the iPhone has been so successful. It's intuitive to use, it's easy to use, it feels right. No hate on my Android users, but it's just not the same. Those tools might have more capabilities inside like an Android phone, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And so that's what we're going for. So that's coming out early next year as the V3 redesign launch. Again, as it stands now, the data platform will have a slightly different design than Land Insight. It's not going to be polarizing and crazy, but there'll be some subtle differences there in terms of design. Steve says basically the cost is the same as earlier edition. That's right, Steve. So no additional change in pricing. In fact, for our data users, pricing has gone down when we look at scrubbing. They get free landlocked scrubs and 50% off all other scrubs. So there's no additional monthly cost. The only thing that changes is if someone's on the unlimited data platform. That's a whole different can of worms for, I would say, pretty damn advanced people. But as it stands right now, all users are at the same pricing plan and will get access to all the features that we're listing here. None of it's gate kept. And that's true for a lot of the features that we just went through. Actually, all of the features Kyle just went through, those are all add-ons. There's no additional monthly charge or anything along those lines. One of the big tools is the comping tool. If you guys are inside of Leah, you've seen me use this on the calls for like the last 6 months. I don't share my screens, I don't show you, but I constantly talk about it and I'm using it. And I think you guys have probably seen the capabilities of that and how insane it is. Ryland's been using it. Kyle's been using it. Kyle built this tool really to scratch his own itch. One day he comes to Ryland and I, he's like, dude, I built this comping tool. Do you guys want to have access to it? I'm like, sure, why not? And it's literally changed our business. And I don't say that lightly. Like, it's been a night and day difference for twofold. One, the speed that we're able to get offers out through or through like open offer channels like texting or cold calling or whatever. Like, our team can come up with an offer range so quickly through it. And then also for once we get a lead in and we're making that bona fide offer with them, when my team could get on the phone without even looking at the property, and on that call within 3 to 4 minutes, they can have a pinpoint idea on the property and the accuracy of the offers and the comps. It's so good. I would say, so what you're going to see is when you use it, it'll spit out, hey, we think it's worth X. There's a confidence score and things that go along with it. Like any comping tool, there's nothing that can predict it perfectly because there's so much nuance in land comps. In our business, it's about 70% accurate, but that's only half the story. The rest of the story is we go and show you all the comps that were formulated to create that offer or what we thought it was worth. And you can kind of pick and choose and redesign that and recreate it. It visualizes it on a map and it ranks it kind of based off of the Leah framework for comping. It's unbelievable. It's so good. I mean, Ryland, you've been using it, I'd say probably a little bit less as long as I have. I think you're more recently a power user of it. What's the experience been like for you?
It's insane. It's literally a cheat code. I mean, like, it's a time savings issue that has been solved. It's a accuracy problem that's been solved. And ultimately, like, it makes your business more efficient. Like you said, our VAs can hop on a cold lead, like on a cold call, and they can talk price on that call without ever doing any due diligence. They're literally just looking at the number and the confidence score. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Kyle, you guys say something?
But then I actually laid her off because just decided that the comping tool was just as accurate.
Yep. So Kyle, let me ask you this. What were you paying your comper per month?
It kind of ranges, depended how much volume we were doing, but I was paying her $6 an hour and she's probably working, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 hours a week.
Okay.
So it kind of depends, but the big thing for me was sometimes she wouldn't comp things correctly. I felt like if I had a repeatable process that was more reliable, that made me sleep better at night. And I knew if I could improve kind of the algorithm, then everything is better. Everything is better overnight if I just improve the algorithm. But it's harder. You know, people are a little bit different. You can coach them, but sometimes they forget things and, you know, all that. So it's more about building something that's sustainable from a team growth perspective rather than, you know, anything else.
Yeah. So we're generating about 100 leads per week in our business, and we don't even have a comper. Like, we don't have a professional underwriter or comper. This tool literally has filled that need for us. And I think it's more accurate and it scales infinitely with your business. Right. And so, and it's no cost. That's just a feature that gets bolted on. That's kind of always been like our general, I guess, overarching premise is, can we just keep on reinvesting into this tool? I mean, we have some edges in terms of Kyle's abilities and his ability to find amazing engineers. And we've definitely been really lucky, but to build this without some of the edges that we have, you're talking about a 7-figure build just for this data platform in its current form. Luckily, we were able to save a bit with Kyle's expertise, but you're still talking about huge sums that are invested. That's always been our premise. Can we just keep on pouring in to build the overarching power tool for land investors? And so a feature like that is the same idea. And we want to reward people that stay with us. Our business should grow by reducing churn, not by charging more. That's kind of our whole idea. And so that's just, again, a free bolt-on addition. I can't stress enough how much that tool has changed our business. I literally am not over-exaggerating when I say that. What's funny is Kyle Leah over a year and a half ago, and he told me recently, he said, Sumner, I've never manually priced out a blind offer in my life, which is crazy. And I just want to say this, and I just think that it speaks to Kyle's like, I don't know, not character, but I don't know, just who he is and just his way of looking at things, which I think is so rare. When he joined Leah, he went and like locked himself away for 6 months instead of going and sending out a shit ton of blind offers. He said, let me just go and build tools that does this stuff for me, essentially. And that's kind of how we ended up merging paths with the nerd. Well, what's funny too, Kyle, is I see there's a lot of smart people on land for sure. And I hear this a lot from people. They tell me, they always tell me, Sumner, I'm working on the kill shot tool, or screw it, I'm not going to do it manually. I'm going to use my coding experience to build something amazing. And it's literally never happened. You're the only person to follow through on that. And like Jerry says, Kyle deserves the Land Peace Prize. I would echo that.
Wow. Thank you, Jerry.
Well, I think, Kyle, you've done. I mean, Kyle used to build autonomous buses, like literally autonomous vehicles. Like, he comes in with a weird skill set, and I think you've brought a breath of fresh air into the land business, frankly, like kind of single-handedly in a really cool way. So, yeah,
appreciate that.
Yeah,
let's see, George or Jorge. I'm not sure which one it is. Actually, my acquisition manager's name is Jorge. So it says, looking great, guys. One question, Mapbox maps only. Yes, we are using Mapbox right now. Are you planning on adding Esri maps? Do you know GIS? Sounds like you do. Maybe you've used ArcGIS. Yeah, because they are more up to date. They look better, more high resolution, and also Regrid uses it. Yeah, man, it's a good suggestion. We can add that. I don't see why not. So I'll take a note to take a look. So basically, for folks on, that's just going to give us, when you zoom in, you're going to say, oh yeah, that basically gives you like more accurate and up-to-date satellite views, and you can zoom in a little bit more and get more resolution out of things. So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll take it here.
I want to touch on a couple. I mean, Kyle, do I have your permission to go deeper into some of the roadmap stuff from a high level?
Why not? Yeah.
Okay. We're time stamping this here. Look, there are some looky-loos out there that like to copy what we do. That's fine. I mean, I just don't think you can ever build a business just from being a copycat. It's like, I live in Bali now, and I go to these like shoe stores and stuff, and it's all knockoff Adidas, knockoff Yeezys. And I mean, maybe there's a market for that, but it's just, it ain't the real thing. And then you can tell when you pick up the shoe, you're like, it looks like it, but it's jank. And I put it on, my feet hurt. I'm like, this is just buy the real thing. So we're going to timestamp here. What's up?
There's like no foam in it. There's weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it's some funny business. So there's a lot on this list that I won't touch on, but I'll just touch on some of the things that I think are interesting. Some of the things that we've been dreaming up. Obviously, a slope scrub, that's an important one that kind of overlaps with our slope data layer addition. Like Kyle said, that slope is measured down to the last meter. I mean, it's so hyper accurate. One of the things that I've seen, I can't speak on all data platforms. Rylan, you've been in the game long enough to probably have seen this as well. Kyle, maybe you as well. Have you guys noticed how contour lines are accurate? I don't have any questions there. But the 3D topo maps seem to read totally different from different platforms in different states. Have you seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's like wild exaggerations in some place and wild under exaggeration. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, because we'll send boots on the ground to 2 different properties. And I'm like, this does not add up what it's showing. And it seemed, I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's the source of the data, but there's definitely some variability there. We're looking to solve that. We're like, you can hang your hat that I trust that this slope data is really accurate. And so we're finding literally the most accurate data that exists out there, down to the last meter. Okay, really one that I'm excited about. This is a subtle point, but I think that like, when you see that you're using a shit ton of solutions to solve one central problem, you've got to ask yourselves, is there a better way? Like, our KPIs are sparsed out between some Notion stuff and some freaking a million sheets, and then some reporting forms inside of Slack, and it's so discombobulated. So it's like, well, can we just build one KPI dashboard inside of Land Insights? And who knows KPI is better than us? Honestly, I don't think anyone does. Like, I think we have a really good grasp on what's important. And so building out your kind of KPI dashboard inside of there. Some of that would be automatically generated from usage inside the tool, and some of that would have the ability for kind of manual input from you and your team. So again, you have like that one end-to-end solution where everything is just simply stored in one place. What I feel like is my team starts to not adhere to things when it gets confusing. So once you start building a big team, it's like, how do I ensure that everyone's doing what they should be doing? And if we're fragmented and using a bunch of things, stuff starts slipping through the cracks. And it's maybe not even really their fault. We just need a better system. Should I talk about the listing tracker? It's such a fire feature.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is a crazy one. And I will be so upset if someone tries to jip us on this. It's such a crazy feature. And again, I think it's really only relevant if you're steeped in our way of doing the land business. Inside of Leo, we talk about being the next logical sale. We talk about the fact that repricing is really how you stay relevant, how we sell deals quickly. Picking markets matter, proper pricing matters. But a lot of times when we bring a listing to market, we're kind of in like price discovery mode, and we've got to adjust it and tailor it. And every time we reprice, we kind of refresh back on the searches. So building out a dispo listing tracker that tracks all of your listings, that tracks the save and view ratios, which we talked about inside of Leah in terms of what we're shooting for. It'll notify you when that stuff is off. It'll give you price drop reminders. And so something that tracks all of your dispositions and will kind of like AI manage it for you and then prompt you to take the next step. Unfortunately, we can't have the code do the step for you because it's slightly convoluted when you're using realtors. But we'll queue that up for you. And list management is so important. Like once you have, Rylan, how many listings do you have right now?
28.
Yeah, I think we probably got like 20, 25 active listings right now. Like it's really hard. And I've got someone that's looking at them every week and doing these price. It just gets really annoying. And it's all discombobulated in different sheets and Slack channels. And so again, that's just a free feature built in there for you. There's some really cool stuff with offer pricing, which I won't really talk on, and some mail stuff that's really interesting. But yeah, there's a bunch more on this roadmap sequence, but those are just some of the features that I'm really excited for. You know, for some that might just be a small kind of add-on additional feature, but those are big deals for me. Those are huge for me. See you, Jerry. Thanks for joining, man. Kyle, Ryan, anything you guys want to add to the roadmap?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's small things like, for instance, on the KPI dashboard. I mean, one thing that I've kind of been running into is sometimes folks don't put in their KPIs at the end of the day, right? So I built up a kind of an automation inside of my business that will remind people, says, hey, it'll wait it'll wait like an hour after they were supposed to put in. But if it's not in, it'll say, hey, you still need to put in your KPIs. So I think on the KPI dashboard, we can kind of have like I would call it like some compliance, like, or maybe some reminders just to tell each people, each parts of the business, hey, the texter, hey, the campaign manager, hey, the acquisition manager, lead manager, whatever it might be, you need to put in your KPIs, right? And you'll be able to put in and build custom metrics. So if there's something very specific for your business, you just don't have to follow kind of the Leah framework. Of course, we're going to set you up for success that way. We'll kind of have like a canned KPI dashboard, but you can add on to it so that you can kind of build out your own metrics. Because otherwise, you basically have to figure out how you're going to track it, make sure people follow that. They got to post it in the Slack. They got to do all these different things. Got to have someone build out a dashboard, right? There's all these different components. We kind of want to solve that just by putting into Land Insights. So I think that compliance part, that reminding your team to do, get on top of things can kind of help, especially if you plan on, building this business as a passive kind of business in a way where you can kind of relax, like you kind of need those feedback loops for your team.
Yeah. I think that there's like a pendulum swing in business right now. I feel it in land, and I think it's in business in general. And there's two things that I'm seeing, and I feel it myself. There used to be like this whole like measuring contest. I won't say the real phrase, but a measuring contest that people would go through in terms of how many team members they have. It's like a big flex. I've got 40 people that work for me. I've never had 40 people working for me, but I've had a good amount, and it's frankly, it's a living hell, and it's crazy, and it's not necessarily preferable. And then also a lot of folks that like to tout top line revenue, or I made $5 million, but they really made $1 million. Like, just like a lot of weird stuff there. And I think that the new swing is lower teams, more like lower team size, more effective teams, and then high profitability numbers. Let's make the trend change to, like, we talk profit. We talk about what are you actually making, because those are the numbers that matter. That's the stuff that's actually sexy. And we're in kind of like this cool, not to be over the top, like AI revolution a bit in a sense, to where we can take some of the AI, bring it over to land, have more profitability, smaller team sizes, and it's ultimately a more efficient business. And as by virtue of that, more freedom. You can build, and I've done this, you can build a freaking jail for yourself by building a big business. It is a literal jail. Rylan, would you agree?
Yes.
So
100%.
Is that my uncle?
What's up, Coach? Good to see you, man. Coach is getting
I told Coach to come bring a motivational speech, so I'm putting him on the spot.
I had to rip my sleeves off first before he did it.
Coach, what do you got to say to people out there?
Yo, super fired up. We had so many people tuning in. You guys had just banger things to say. I was listening while I was not just ripping miles actually at the gym. I was also doing ski erg. I was doing all sorts of stuff, getting prepped for a high rocks. And I mean, if you're not on board with what these guys are doing at this point, you're legit just crazy, because like these guys are dialed in. They're trying to help your business out. And the best advice I've ever been given in life is there's all sorts of stuff you can invest in, which is great. But the best thing you can do is invest in people. And these are the right guys to like help you improve and build what you're doing as well too. And if you're stuck and you're in a rut, dial into these guys. They're there to help you support your business. And if you are in a rut, hop onto our call Tuesday, last Tuesday of the month. I'll call you out on some of the BS you're dealing with in life, and we'll get you dialed in. So
we'll get you dialed in, baby.
Part of the team. This is awesome team. Bunch of winners here, and this guy's going to do an Ironman on no training. So it's pretty sweet.
Lock in.
Hey, there you go. Coach, I'll send you the payment for that plug after this call. No, I'm just kidding.
That sounds good.
I actually want to talk about something while I have you guys here that's kind of on the note of what Coach is talking about. And this is relevant to Kyle and Ryland and probably to a lot of people on this call. And it's super relevant to the launch of the Land Insights data platform. And I talked about this a bit more recently. I have really interesting insight into the psychology of people being able to work with folks inside of LEA. And you get a lot of people that are first-time business owners or first-time land investors. And like anyone, they come in with a bunch of limiting beliefs and a bunch of baggage, and frankly, just a bunch of bullshit. And that's why we've set that call with Coach last Tuesday of every month. Ultimately, is a place for you guys to come and vent, but for you guys to also get straightened out. And like, we need that. We need accountability. It's part of coaching. It's beyond just, let me share tactics and strategies. You need to get your head right. And that seems silly. Like, why do I got to work on my mindset? But it does matter. I can't stress this enough. And I'd like to just talk about it with you guys for a minute and maybe share your guys' stories. But business is fucking hard. Like a lot of things, business is really hard. But business is weird, for two reasons. One is the example that I gave of being in the dark room. No one really has the answers for you personally. It's all very specific to you, and you run into specific problems and you don't know how to overcome them. And that's the world that Rylan and Kyle and I live in, both in our own businesses and also inside of Land Insights. But on top of that, there's the added layer of money, and money makes you emotional. Money is a crazy emotional driver. Like, it'll make you do crazy things. And I've seen it. And especially when you're building something that requires huge sums of money, it's important that you keep your head right. It's important that you keep your composure, because it's easy to get out of whack. And that might apply to you if you are spending $10,000 for the first time on your mailers in your land business. Like, it's all relative to where you're at in your life. And typically people have real incentives. Like, I'm trying to, take care of my family or leave my job or have more time. And those are really compelling, motivating factors. But again, that can get in your headspace and make you do crazy things. And I want to just reiterate the fact that, like, building anything in the world of business, no matter what niche you're in, is inherently going to be fucking difficult, extremely difficult. You are going to get kicked in the face repeatedly. But what you decide to do with that is ultimately always your choice. And I see people that think that they're unlucky, that for some reason that they've been cursed and they have to throw in the towel. That'll always be your choice to throw in the towel. No one else's. And business is cool because it's like so objective. It's so honest. You can't run from the numbers. The numbers are the numbers. And that's a reflection of where you're at personally. I think this stuff will reveal your character flaws and your deficits. We all have them, and we just have the choice if we get to work on them or want to work on them. And so as I've grown in my entrepreneurial career, so much of the time that I invest into getting better as an entrepreneur is just on the personal side of things. It's little about just trying to find the next strategy. And I feel like this experience has really reminded me of that. And I'm sure it's reminded you guys of all of that. And so if you're going through a hard thing right now, it's up to you. It's no one else's fault. It'll always be on you. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You can't escape it. It's no one else's fault. You lose a football game where you could say, well, Billy, our quarterback wasn't playing well. This isn't like that. It always will come back to you, and it's on you. And I think that's really cool. That's liberating, but that scares the shit out of some people. And some people want to run from that. And they want to cower from that. And so what you guys have seen there ultimately is just a testament of how much pain can we endure. And it's the same for anything else, and it'll be the same for you in your business. You'll have peaks and troughs. There'll be great moments, but there'll also be a lot of bad moments. And I feel like running a business comes with all these high highs and these lows. But then when you magnify that over multiple businesses, I mean, you have some really hard days and some really hard weeks. And yeah, you just persevere and you just keep on going. And you also learn about yourself. You see what you're actually made out of. And that's really cool. Kyle, Ryan, what would you guys say to that?
Every day is a journey, and it all comes down to keeping a level head every single day. I mean, one day you'll work extremely hard and you don't see results immediately. Like you could be working the hardest you've ever worked and you could have a bad day in business. So it's all about tracking like your outputs. Like you can't measure success on complete outcomes. You can only measure success on daily increments of progress. So as long as you're progressing, you should have a positive outlook on your life, and the monetary outcomes will come from that. So I think that's one of the biggest things I learned is there's peaks and troughs in business, and I would hit those troughs and I would get down on myself. But in the long term, if you zoom out, you're just going this way in your life and your business. It's all about that daily progress, all the daily wins, and only you can celebrate those. So it comes down to keeping a level head and staying positive every single day, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
Kyle,
I'm right there with you. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you guys. Just I kind of think it's like a moving average, right? It's like, yeah, like today didn't go well, this week didn't go well, this past 2 weeks didn't go well, this month didn't go well. But like if you zoom out, look how far you were, how far you came from last year. Maybe, there's been businesses I built in the past that didn't work out, but I picked up a skill. I picked up copywriting. I picked up something else, along the way with each different business, and I just skill stacked. And that applies depending on what scale you're looking at. So I totally agree, Rylan, that it is kind of it's more of on average. Are you trending up or are you trending down? And it's easy to get caught up in the day to day or the week to week.
Yeah, I think you like Rylan was saying, like your inputs is all you can control, and it doesn't always match up with the outputs that you're going to get. Either it just doesn't match and you've got to pivot. That's why business is kind of a scientific game. It's data and having a hypothesis and testing. And a lot of times it doesn't work and you try something different and you adjust. Or sometimes there's just a latency between the inputs that you're putting in, the outputs that you get. And so really keeping your eyes on the inputs. And again, we have to care about the outputs. We have to make adjustments from that. But this isn't just like a output game. It's not a money machine. Like this again, it's inherently not easy. And I feel like anything that's hyper coveted, like who wants to make a lot of money? Who wants to have impact? Who wants to build cool things? Who wants to have freedom? Everyone wants that. And so when everyone wants something, the demand is high and it's really hard to do. I just feel like business is no different and land is no different. We all have gone through so many hardships in our own personal land business. But the cool thing is we couldn't have built Land Insights without those hardships. And I've failed so many businesses prior to this, and same with Kyle. We couldn't have done that and still built like it all, like Kyle was saying with the skill stacking, it all adds up. It all is working in your favor, and you've got to believe that. But whether you throw in the towel because the outputs aren't there, that is always your choice. It'll be no one's fault. That's always on you. And that's cool, man. I think that's liberating. And again, whether you use Land Insights or not, I feel like this is a cool case study in that, because we really have no business doing this in a lot of ways. I think we built something really interesting, and all of it links back to all the failures that we have, as crazy as that sounds. And we still go through failures. We still take many, 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 many L's, and we just keep on going. So I don't know who needed to hear that, but I hope that this story serves as some level of inspiration for y'all. Yeah. So where do you guys want to go? Anything else you guys want to touch on? Questions in the chat? Questions from you, Kyle, Rylan, anything that you guys want to share?
I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think so.
Landinsights.co/data.
That's right, man. Actually, there are a few things I want to hit on just really briefly. Before we move on, is there anything that you guys would want to share to someone going through a hard time right now?
I mean, it's been pretty good. Post-election, we got 3 offers. So
Nice.
this is good. Yeah, I think things are going to pick up a lot. I'm pretty excited because my inventory is pretty high right now. So it's been a good week. Can't complain.
Yeah. Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, just ride the wave, man. That's kind of how I look at it. Just in business, you just got to stay on top of the wave. Sometimes you're going to fall, but you got to get back up and keep paddling. So, and you got to just, when things or obstacles are in the way, you just got to kind of roll in, lean to the side and then roll past it. Right. I feel like a lot of people are, me personally, I can get stuck on, thinking about things too much, and then you just got to ride the wave. I would just say, I don't know how to explain it other more than that. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Do your best.
You guys should read a book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, I believe, by Horowitz. Good book. I think all great businesses have gone through immense levels of hardship. My week was a little different. Our lead flow got cut in half. I think we only got 57 new leads this week. We had a 6-figure deal at closing fall through. We did get 1 signed contract on the acquisition side, but look, I mean, I still get hit over the head constantly, and so no one's immune to it. What I wanted to talk about, though, is some of the interesting developments in and out of Land Insights that I think will be cool for the people on this call. So Ryland's moving to Scottsdale, Arizona, which is where Kyle lives, which is super exciting. Ryland's opening up what I guess we're calling a land house. I don't know if there's going to be a real name for it, Casa de Ryland or something. How many people are going to be living there? How many land investors?
Between 6 and 8. Yeah.
And are all the spots filled?
There may be 1 spot. If anyone's interested, just DM me either on Instagram if you're not in Sumner's Discord, or just Sumner's Discord. My Instagram's just my name, Ryland Loader.
Cool. So if anyone's looking to level up, live in a house with other land investors, go all in, go through a season of just grinding, great place to do it. Ryland's picking up a crazy house, a really nice house, full on pad. It's super affordable. I mean, you're paying to be in a really nice house and be around other land investors. You've got to be under 30. Maybe there's an exception to that rule. I don't know, but you got to be under 30. And is it mostly Leah members? Is it people you don't know? Like, what's the mix up?
It's mostly Leah members. Yeah.
Cool. So if you're in Leah, there'll be a lot of familiar faces for you. On top of that, are opening up a Land Insights office in Scottsdale next year, which is super cool. So I don't live in Scottsdale, but it'll be a place for me to come out and spend time with them. I'll be out there coming out in June. I'm speaking at the Supercars and Land event, which we'll be sponsoring. So if you guys are coming out to that, it's in Colorado at the end of June. Ryland and the rest of the team will be there. It's going to be super fun. Drew Haney and Peter Nukasani put on a great event. So fun last year. Probably the best land event I've been to outside of our own. But it's, really good time, especially if you like cars. And then so I'm going to go out to Scottsdale, spend some time with them thereafter. We'll probably host a little something. But the reason I'm bringing that up is you guys will probably be doing meetups or get-togethers. I think, Kyle, you're already doing something, which we can talk about here in a second for Scottsdale people. And one thing I want to add on too, Land Insights will be hiring. We will be growing. We're continuing to add on people. And so if you are in the Phoenix or Scottsdale area, reach out to us, put a feeler out there. We are looking to build a team in person. And so if you're in that area and you wants to be a part of something that's really big and growing really quickly and has cool prospects ahead, let us know. We're looking for people eventually in Scottsdale to work with us. Kyle, what are you working on out there in terms of a meetup for anyone that's local?
Yeah, so I've been to a lot of different events this past year, and I've met quite a few people in Scottsdale. So I'm just kind of basically building the Rolodex of folks that are doing land. And we're going to start doing some sort of meetup probably monthly. Undecided where, but kind of just want to be kind of a lightning talk, where people can come up and then share something interesting, maybe a tactic or a strategy they're trying, and then also just get some time to socialize and hang out. So I'm still kind of firming up that when that first one's going to be. It'll probably be early next year, probably in January. And I'll let you guys know as I have more information.
Cool. while we're on this call, I said, oh, we're having a tough week. We actually just got 2 offers on the dispo side while I'm on this call, so can't complain. Actually, a really cool deal. It's a double close at 60K. We got an owner finance offer at 150, but they're going to put down an $80,000 down payment. So 20K on the front end plus the remaining whatever 70K. It's kind of cool deal. Kyle, is there anywhere people should hit you up or go to get information on your get-togethers?
Yeah. You can just send me an email at kyle@landinsights.co.
Okay.
That's the easiest way.
Sweet.
And the Land House will be throwing mini events next year, so stay tuned.
So yeah, one of the things that I've been talking about with the Leah team, like Justin and Juan, and we actually just added a new member to the team, a gal named Joy Owens, who's awesome. But we've been talking about putting together like small satellite meetups. So not like huge events. We'll have one big event per year, but there's like a bunch of areas where there's like a cluster of Leah members. So Florida, North Carolina, the Bay Area, Phoenix, and like LA, Southern California. And so putting together little satellite meetups, but Fire Island has a house that makes things a whole lot easier. So I don't know, doing something routinely, I think would be really fun for people, and just more community, man, more time to get together and just hang out. It makes everyone better, makes this business a whole lot more fun. And it's how we all ended up here on this call together. So it's a byproduct of events, the powerful stuff. All right, guys. Well, we can call it here. For everyone that's been watching, thank you so much. Appreciate everyone's support. I say this a lot, but truly this platform is a byproduct of you guys, both your feedback and your support. This has really just been us reinvesting to build something better and better and better, and we'll continue to do that. So for you guys that have stuck with us, thank you. The whole premise is to keep people with us. We're not going to, charge an arm and a leg. It's just, can we build a tool that's so compelling that people never want to leave? And that's how we grow. That's the whole entire business model for us. And so that's the path forward. Kyle, Rylan, thank you guys for everything that you're doing and have done. And it's a labor of love. It takes a village. Ari, Kyle in the background, I don't know if they're on this call. Same for you guys. Serious labor of love. And just proud of everyone.
Yeah.
Right back at you.
All right. Well, we'll end it for you. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Landinsights.co/data. Come hop on a call with us, and we'll see you guys next week on the 15th and the 21st. Bye.
Later.
Later.